Let's talk tennis mindset. So often in tennis and in life, we have to have a big picture, long term perspective on what's going on. And let's talk about doubles and a singles example of this. Just recently, I posted this lesson right here called Weak Doubles Partner Solution Tennis Strategy Lesson. I used a real life case study of me doing a bunch of different moves up at the net in doubles. I did some fakes, I did some poaches, I did some fake fakes. If you don't know what that is, I highly recommend watching that video. And the first three times that I made a move, I actually lost the points. I got burned. One time I got the ball I wanted, but I put it in a bad place, and my partner and I ended up losing the points. And the next two times that I tried to make a move on the same player, she beat me, and she, gasped. Oh, she beat me down the line, which doubles players have kind of decided that's like the worst thing ever, and it's like shame on you when you get beat down your alley. Another topic for another time. Anyway, I wanted to respond just quickly to this kind of. I'm sure this person is just kind of poking fun at me a little bit, but it brings up a very important topic. This person, kind of making fun of me, said, "I'm 7 minutes into the video, and you're the weakest player on the court." By the way, I was playing with three other 4-0 players, and I want to just acknowledge that this is actually accurate. Like, it's correct. Over those first couple of points where I made those moves, all I did was give away points, and I lost the point. But I explained in the video that I like it, though. I like the way I was losing the points. The way I was losing the points was I was opening an opportunity for my opponents to aim for a low percentage shot, and in the short term, she was making it. And it would be very easy as a tennis player to see, okay, I've lost the first point, I've lost the second point, I've lost the third point, and give up on it. But long view, big picture, I knew that over the long run, the odds of this player converting on that shot again and again and again and again and again, like sooner or later, I know that the odds have to tip and swing in my favor. Now, there is a sense in which like we have to be realistic, and it's like 9 times out of 10, okay, now we've got like a pretty strong data set that we have to work with. But if it's just early going and we're a couple of points in, then it's critical that you separate short-term results from long-term probability. And I knew that over the long term, if I kept doing what I was doing, there were a lot of other auxiliary benefits and payoffs. And that's where understanding and knowledge of tennis in like a very broad, big picture sense tactically is critically important for you as a tennis player. So if after the first 3 points, which are over in, a minute, I looked down at my feet and I was like, man, Ian, this whole like poaching thing is just not paying off. This faking thing's not, like, I'm getting beat. Like, I need to give up on this and try something else. If I went down that path, now that opens the door for my opponents to be able to do whatever they want. If I take my foot off the gas, now they can pick on my partner, potentially. Now they can isolate my partner. If I just mind my own business and I don't give my opponents anything to think about and no interesting choices to make because of my movements or because of my positioning, then it benefits them over the long run tremendously. This is very similar to in singles when your opponent likes to go down the line a lot. And I've been teaching, single strategy for a long time. And when I first begin a strategy like camp or clinic, we talk about the reasons why cross court is higher percentage, and we talk about how most points end with somebody making a mistake. And so we want to follow the percentage, plays and have like a good reason why we go against them. And then inevitably, the top question is, well, what if I keep getting beat, down the line? And I think it's critically important to, A, acknowledge that sometimes my opponents are just going to hit good shots. B, be aware of the big picture stats and probabilities of like, okay, in an isolated incident, sure, they hit a good shot, but long term, if I keep giving them that opportunity over the span of 5 minutes or 10 minutes or half an hour, what are the odds I'm actually going to be ahead on this? And if you don't have the perspective and understanding and knowledge to keep in mind the big picture, you can actually end up being extremely predictive, extremely predictable rather, very ineffective, playing things very safe and never taking any risks. Also in singles, like coming to the net is very much like this. You can have a streak of getting beat 2, 3, 4 times in a row, coming to the net in singles because there's just so much real estate to cover that it can be easy to give it up. And even though in the long run it might be the right play. Doubles, poaching, it's easy in the short run to give it up, even though in the long term, it's probably the right play to be able to throw in some different looks and keep your opponents guessing. This reminds me of investing too, like in financial, like in the real world, putting money away in the stock market. In the short term, performance can look super scary. And like, man, this is definitely the wrong choice. I gotta get out of I gotta get out of the market, or I gotta get out of this stock. And when you don't keep in mind the big picture, the long term, it can be like very scary. We can make bad decisions. When you know that over the long run, the market gives us X, Y, or Z return, then it allows us to be more pragmatic and be able to kind of stomach the ups and downs of the short term. But unfortunately, humans tend to be very short-term minded. And in both singles and in doubles, tactics and strategy, you have to keep reminding yourself of the long term when the short term gets scary. And again, I want to acknowledge there is a time and a place to abandon an aggressive play. There is a time and a place where it's clear the pattern is running against you and it is favoring your opponents. But so here, I don't even know. 7 minutes into this. So what was the score? 7 minutes in. Let's find out together. If you hate playing doubles when your partner is the weakest, 7 minutes.
Let's find out what happens here.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is the last time that I got beat down the alley. So this is 6 minutes 52 seconds. I didn't even take the time to go and look, but I just kind of assumed. So here's what's happening at 7 minutes in.
And the ball lands 6 inches from the line.
Watch my reaction here. Oh my gosh. So perfect shot back to back from this opponent back on the baseline. Now at this point, a lot of you watching are probably like, Ian, give it up. It's a losing battle. And I need you to take a big picture perspective. So, spoiler, I stick with the aggressive movement. And the reason why I did that, again, like big picture mindset, I knew that my partner was the weakest player on the court, and if I didn't make things happen, then my partner's I would never see a ball. They're not going to hit me the ball. They would just isolate my partner and hit everything to her, and we would probably lose the game and probably lose the match. So I decide that in the face of short-term adversity and failure, I've got it, like this is big picture, just the right play. And guess what? We still, spoiler, like we ended up holding serve here on this game, even though my partner's serve was super weak. Our opponents were really aggressive and really pressuring. And it was because I didn't allow the short-term failure to get to me. So keep this in mind tactically, both singles and doubles. When your opponent in singles hits that crazy down the line winner, it doesn't mean that you immediately have to bail on hitting cross court. And when you get burned down the line in doubles, it doesn't mean you got to abandon, poaching. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes you just got to stick with it. It's just going to take some time. And knowing the difference is really kind of where the art of tactics and strategy comes into play in tennis. There's never a guarantee. There's never a sure thing. But if you can kind of track the trend, you can give yourself the best statistical chance. So knowing the big picture, what generally is going to pay out is huge. And then tracking like the short and medium term is huge. Only then can you make a really intelligent decision and be the most successful long term. Hope that makes sense. Thanks for watching. If you haven't seen that lesson, highly recommend you watch it. Keep long-term minded. in tennis and in life. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.